Welcome back. We're continuing our coverage of the proposed new rates and rules for APS. It comes on the heels of a recent settlement agreement that APS had to pay customers back after botching the last rate case in 2017. It's with that history in mind that I spoke with a panel of experts, including two former Arizona Corporation commissioners and an energy efficiency advocate, to talk about how customers can really trust that the Corporation Commission will make decisions in their best interest. Here's what they had to say. Justin, as these hearings proceed, how will we know where the truth lies?
Because the Corporation Commission has to actually dig into these details, the filings of the company, the filings of RUCO, the presentations from staff, and actually parse all of the competing information to get to the reality so that the customers are in fact protected and that the rates that are charged do not exceed what's allowed under the Constitution, that just and reasonable return on the investments of the utility.
That's why it's really important for the commission, for stakeholders, and for others to make this process simple for the public. This is a rate case that essentially everyone in many ways has a stake in. It's the business of the state and everyone that lives in the state.
That leads us to the 2017 rate case. You had two grassroots activists, also two independent reports, commissioners acting on tips and information, and the Attorney General coming together to expose big problems. Here's a quick look back. Business owner and activist Stacey Champion is leading a charge on behalf of customers, arguing to a judge the actual average bill impact experienced by residential customers is significantly greater than the 4.5% projection.
It's not just me saying it, it's thousands and thousands of APS customers.
It's a company that raised rates in 2017 and made them so confusing that its own employees can't explain the rate oftentimes. And at the same time, it's been extremely profitable.
These records also show the company ended up with more cash on hand last year than was projected or even allowed.
Well, lo and behold, the audit report comes out and says APS is over-earning.
A new independent report slams Arizona's largest power company, APS, for not doing enough to help customers save money on their bills.
The report concludes APS ignored most feedback from consumer organizations when it developed the plan. It failed to include components of what's considered a reasonable customer education plan.
And APS's rate structure is too complicated.
That's Stephen Jennings of AARP.
I think it becomes clear that APS has failed in its obligations to its customers.
We have not met your nor our own expectations.
A new era begins with an apology and a vow to make amends.
It is our responsibility to do better.
Most agreed the surprise announcement from the Attorney General regarding restitution from APS is a big deal.
It's validation.
It shows that APS misrepresented the situation.
Thoughts?
There's a settlement, and a lot of times there are settlements, but it wasn't closely scrutinized. It was just brought basically to the commissioners and they rubber stamped it, meaning they didn't have hearings, they didn't take testimony.
And that's why it's so important that we elect folks to the Corporation Commission that take that job extremely seriously.
For those out there who are thinking maybe they do want to have a say in this APS rate case or get involved, what would you tell them?
I would say it's incredibly important for your voice to be heard in front of the commission, and commissioners need to hear from you. Our world is changing, the electric grid is changing, and the way that we develop rates and maintain reliability is changing rapidly. And the risks of failing to adapt to a changing world means higher rates for customers and less reliability and resiliency for our grid. So I encourage all Arizonans, if they care about their bills, if they care about the future of their households, their families, their businesses, I encourage them all to speak up at the upcoming public comment sessions.
Joe, the timing couldn't be worse with inflation and many Arizonans still struggling to make ends meet. We just showed how people can make their voices heard, but aside from that, what can consumers do to make sure they're getting the best rate possible?
Mark, even a couple of the most cynical consumer advocates have told me they really like what they see here now on APS's website. This is the new rate plan tool, the comparison tool. You can log on if you have an APS account. If not, get one. Make sure you get that password. You go to the comparison tool. Right there in the center, it will tell you about your plan and how it compares to others. It will take you to a customized side-by-side comparison of plans. and you can make decisions from there. So this is an easy way. If there is a way to save money on your APS bills, do that now. Go to the APS website or call them if you need help.
We're getting into such an expensive time of year. Joe, thanks. As we continue to cover stories that matter to most Arizonans, we want you to be a part of these discussions. To submit a story tip or a topic that you think is worth more coverage, send us an email to connect@12news.com.